Welcome back. We took a few months off, but we didn't tell you that. It's going to be a little rusty around here. It's going to be a little rusty around here. We got on the horn about an hour ago, and we are just recording now. That's how rusty
We're doing great. We're doing great.
To another episode of Woodworking is Bullshit, your favorite podcast where the two co-hosts take 3 months off at a time, like today's episode. I'm your host, Paul Jasper of Copper Pig Woodworking, scientist by day, woodworker by night. And my boy is in the chair, Eric Curtis, fine furniture maker and content creator.
¿Cómo estás, mother bitches?
I love when you do that. I was hoping you were going to do that.
What's crack-a-lackin', baby boy? How you doing?
I love when you do that, honestly. It's fantastic. Buddy.
It's been a hot minute.
I know. I feel out of sorts. It's been so I know. It's been 3 months since we've recorded. Now everyone's saying, "What are you talking about? You had episodes every 2 weeks." Yeah, because in November we had like a recording bonanza.
Yeah, we stockpiled them.
It was just that there were so many people available and we were like hitting on all cylinders and we had so many ideas and everything was just happening. So we take it when we can get it, when the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah. And I mean, also it's good to take creative breaks from things, like we had a bunch of hot guests lined up and we hopped on them when they were available, but also just like, it's then good to sit back and take a breath and like have time to think about what you want to bring to the table in the future. Think about what the future of the pod's going to be, all those things.
And I'll be honest, I missed recording.
Sure.
I felt, let's talk about this winter, right? Because the last time we recorded was November and it is now December.
Early December.
And it is now March. How was the winter for you, Eric?
Oh, buddy. A lot of things happened this winter. I got a pup, so we were kind of breaking him in and figuring each other out, figuring out life together. A delightful thing, Teddy, Theodore Oswald Cornelius Roosevelt III, Esquire, a real distinguished gentleman.
Teddy
and spent a lot of time in the shop. And while I really I'm a cold weather boy at heart, that Latvian blood runs thick in my veins. By the time the weather broke this week and it started to get warm and the sun came out, I was like, oh, I didn't realize like I was in the winter blues.
How much you were missing it?
Yeah, man. Like just being out in the sunshine and like seeing other people smiling feels like it's been 7 fucking lifetimes since I've just had a pleasant interaction with another human being on the street.
So can I step off from that sentiment? So, look, in this podcast, we pride ourselves on our authenticity and just being real with each other and with our listeners. And I'm going to be honest, I had a hard winter.
Yeah.
I was frequently feeling lonely. Even though I'm married to a wonderful woman and she's, she's around me all the time. It's great. And
Happy birthday, by the way, Vicky.
Yeah, thank you.
Hell fucking yeah.
I'll tell her that her birthday's this week. Even with my wonderful family, something, and I think it's seasonal affective disorder, SAD, right? SAD. Something about the lack of sunlight, the lack of interaction had me feeling really blue this winter. And I was like, I would go into my shop most days if I could, if it wasn't too fucking cold out there. And I know a lot of people probably relate to this feeling, but when you're in the shop with the doors closed, you're alone for hours and hours and hours, right? And I'm an extrovert. I get so much energy from talking and interacting with others. Just seeing your face across the camera right now, Eric, it like gives me like a little warm like feeling like, hey, there's my bud. Like one of my best friends on the earth is like with me right now. And so it was just a long, cold winter. And I feel like I suffered unnecessarily a little bit, but, we're back. And I realized how much I missed the podcast because recording the podcast is an opportunity. And I think like the listeners probably feel this way. It's an opportunity to commune with friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you, whether you're the listener or whether you're the host, you're communing with friends. One's a more active version and one's a more passive version. Oh, well, I don't know. The listeners might, they say it's passive, but I know a lot of listeners write to me that they yell at the
I was
they
about to
yell at
say,
the
I know that they are conversing with us. We just can't hear them.
they yell at the podcast. I know so many people have told me that. If you yell at this podcast when we're recording it, drop a comment, okay? Because I bet we're going to have a lot of comments. But anyway, it was a rough winter, and I'm happy to be recording again. And I'm happy to see some semblance of sunlight again because I feel so much better. I just feel inspired again, warm and fuzzy again, full of gratitude again. Like it just, what a difference the
Hell yeah,
winter versus
I'm
spring
glad
makes.
we're back on the horse. I'm glad to be back here. I'm glad you're feeling better. Like it's coming up aces all around the last couple of days.
Yeah, it's been good. All right, so today we'd like to get back into it with an episode of Barstool Confessions, your favorite format. This is our 5th time doing this. Now, as you might recall, Barstool Confessions happened quite organically through a recommendation of Eric's, which is, look, this whole thing started with us just talking, probably drinking a little too much at the bar together.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Even though Eric's rolling sober tonight. Good for you, Eric.
I know.
I'm not. I have
Might be the first step.
The whole Barstool Confession thing started with just kind of reflecting back to how the podcast started, which is we just talk about things that are on our mind. Usually they're fairly difficult to parse out. And so we like to hear each other's thoughts on it, often philosophical in nature, often emotional in nature, and not sort of the slam dunks, sort of multifaceted questions. So today, Eric and I are both coming to each other with questions that we don't know ahead of time. I have 4. Eric's got 7. We'll see how many we get to. Some are our own thoughts, and some are from our patrons this time. That's what's new. We asked our patrons, hey, do you have any interesting questions for Barstool Confessions? Let's go. Eric?
Let's see how it rides, baby.
Why don't you lead off this time?
I'll lead off, which is great because I think this question actually stemming from an honest introduction about the emotional toll the last few months has taken, and the value of relationships and the value of creating together, creating content together. This is what I've been sitting with. And I tried to come up with, in full disclosure, some different styles of questions because I feel like often when I approach Barstool Confessions, and maybe this is just who I am as a human being, the questions are about me. And then I'm just talking to you about them, which, I mean, in fairness, like that's friendship, but that's not necessarily good podcasting, right? Yeah. So I say that with the caveat of like, this first question is about me. So here is what I've been sitting with the last couple of days. And I think I've been sitting with it for a little bit longer than the last few days, but I've been trying to put it into a question form. And so the question is, what value does the social part of social media hold for you? Ooh. And by you, I mean you specifically, Paul Jasper, PhD. And do you think that it influences your creative decision-making?
Can you read that again?
That's sure. What value does the social part of social media hold for you? And do you think that it influences your creative decision-making?
The social part of social media holds tremendous value to me in that it connects me to both other makers who have become best friends of mine, you, for example, but it also connects me to a group of customers who buy things, and I very much want to know them. And I'm happy to invite them in as part of like the experience of working with me or working together on a project, and just members of the community. I am someone who has the time and the space in my life to I'm open to new relationships. I'm open to new people. I have met some fantastic people in this community. and it has been a absolute value add to my life. So that is what social media has. The social part of social media, has it affected my work? 100%, it's affected my work. And I don't know if that means I'm soft core. Like, there's this like, like Cinemax versus like, right? Right? Like, so, was it like
I'm
Cinemax?
so excited to hear where you're going with this, buddy.
Sorry. Anytime I hear like soft core, like the word Cinemax like pops into my head for some reason.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
But so when I say that the social media affects my art, part of me thinks about those hardcore artists with a monocle and a fucking long ass cigarette holder who are like, darling, my art is only affected by me. You should
Right.
never let anyone affect you.
Right. Major ego. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're some piece of shit if you're amenable to the thoughts of others. You have to be so locked in on your own ideas that you're totally bulletproof to other people's ideas. That is not who I am. I have had ideas of the community, or ideas I've seen, or ideas I've seen, or ideas that people have given to me affect me greatly, and I think for the better. Because to think that I'm enough of an artist to have a rich enough career that I think of literally everything myself unaided, I think is a fallacy. I welcome the ideas of others. I still infuse a ton of myself into it. But their ideas push me into new places that I otherwise would not go. And so I very much welcome their influence.
Interesting.
How about you?
Well, the reason that I wanted to ask you that question on this episode is because I knew that you would have a different answer than I did.
Okay.
And that's not to say I disagree with your answer. Obviously, you're one of my closest friends, and we met through Instagram. Right. So many of my closest friends I met through Instagram. The woman I'm currently dating, we first met through Instagram. So there's a huge amount of social value to it. Okay. But when the noise gets loud enough, it becomes difficult to discern good information from bad. And, we as humans have a negativity bias. And I know, though I think I have developed a decently thick hide, that's, it gets under my skin from time to time. And it can be hard to really like. The visual I was thinking about it in relation to this is like, if you're a performer in like a local theater, it might be a lot of people that you already have relationships coming to see your work and supporting you. Might be people like there's a really supportive small community around that is willing to embrace you, and you meet new people and everybody thrives, and that's really, really wonderful. And as that grows larger and larger, and you get into regional theater, you get into like off Broadway, the critique becomes louder and louder.
Right, because there's more people.
There's more eyeballs on it, right? And that's not to say that everybody has to love your work and tell you you're a wonderful special flower and you've never done anything wrong.
Right.
But if you listen to enough of the critique, because we have that inherent negativity bias, it becomes a lot. So
sorry, can I clarify what you mean by negativity bias? So
please.
For every 10 comments you might receive, 9 are amazing and 1's negative. You're only going to really hear the negative one. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's you latch on to the negative thing, right?
And all of us are like that. I feel
all of us, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a human instinct, right? Like
you could have 99 brilliant comments and 1 stinker, and you'll just be thinking about the stinker.
I mean, even just going all the way back to basic instinct, like you can be in a field of flowers, and the one thing you'll see is the snake. Right. Like it's the thing that keeps you alive.
Survival.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so all that to say, while I understand and appreciate and acknowledge the very positive social aspects, I feel like my social circle is butting up against its capacity. And so any new information is not necessarily positive information. There are like people on my Patreon, people on our Patreon who I really enjoy interacting with. But those people are, again, they're like people who paid for a ticket to come see you in a theater versus like being an actor on a street and people on YouTube just like throwing tomatoes at you for no reason.
I see.
And so, all of that to say, I was sitting with the idea of turning off comments on YouTube completely and just tell them to go fuck themselves.
Oh, wow.
And the more I thought about it, like, and I asked my patrons today, I was like, how do you guys feel about comment sections on YouTube videos? Like, do you enjoy commenting? Do you find value in the communal aspect of that? Or are you just in every one of them I think there's 15, 18 responses right now after a couple hours. Every single one of them is like, the comment section is a cesspool. I never go in there. If I go in there, it's just to simply say something kind because I like your videos and then dip out because algorithms. That's it.
So, wow. Okay. I'm a bit shocked that you thought about it that far.
Well, then I made the decision to turn them off and I did it. And you know what's interesting?
Huh.
I watched 150 videos I have on YouTube or something. I hit bulk edit, remove comments, shut them down. And I just watched each video go from like 300 comments to 0, 500 comments to 0, 100 comments to 0. And as I watched it happen, I was just like, yeah, that was the right decision. Like, it was like immediately.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There was not even like a modicum of regret. It was just like,
But are you throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Like, are you letting the few negative comments like dictate the behavior as opposed to the overwhelming number of positive comments?
That's potentially. And here's, as I've thought through this, the people who want to engage and ask questions are generally people who are on my Patreon.
Okay.
And if you're not, like, if you can't afford to pay for Patreon, I get that. Like, there is a group chat that is accessible to all free members as well. You can go in there. And what that does is it makes an extra step for you to go and converse.
It's an effort selection bar.
Right. And so all the clowns who are like, this guy's a fucking tool bag. It's like, well, now you're going to have to go out of your way to go sign up for a Patreon, to go into the group chat, to comment the thing, which some of them might do. That's fine. Like, and again, I'm not saying
I doubt it
that I am right. I'm not saying that I am above critique. There's like, if I am unlikable on camera, that's information worth having, you know?
Yeah.
But what I think ultimately it is doing is it is altering the way that I think about approaching my videos. And that, I think, is a net creative negative for me.
Wow.
And I think it's a disservice to the people who actually want to watch my videos and want to watch me put interesting objects out into the world.
I'm a bit stunned. And I applaud it. Look, I mean, at 10,000 feet looking down, what I see you doing is like, I put myself out there in this way. There are reactions, primarily good. 95% of the comments are good. Some are bad. I found that the bad ones are affecting me emotionally and changing the way I operate within my head or within my creative bounds. And I want to try eliminating that interference for a time and see how it feels.
Yeah.
Is that right?
For sure. Like, it's an experiment. I'm not saying it's a forever thing. I might do it and find that it's not helpful, you know, and then I have to assess something else. Maybe YouTube is not a thing that I want to do, but I do think the creative process, like creating the object, then creating the video and sharing the video with people.
Yeah.
I find a lot of joy and value in that. But, you know, like, I don't let clients dictate a commissioned piece because you are trusting me to make you the best piece I can in the time that I'm making it. Mm-hmm. Similarly, I don't think if it is just a random passerby on YouTube, I don't think that I can let that person dictate the type, the quality, the style of video that I put out.
Okay.
If my patrons are curious to see me go in a different direction, that's a conversation. That's not a shouting match.
Got it.
You
Got it.
know?
Uh, I think this is fascinating that you're trying this experiment. I'm all about experimenting with things. So I think this is great. A note about my answer in retrospect. It sounded so rosy and simple, whereas yours sounded like difficult and complex. Mine is rosy and simple because for some reason, I don't get trolls.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I haven't had a negative comment in years on
that's
any form of social media. So it's easy if everyone's just like, this
right.
is
If
awesome.
everybody's nice. Yeah. But
Yeah,
again,
everyone's been nice to
I
me,
think that's
but
why
I'm not on YouTube.
I was trying to use the analogy of like a community theater, right? Like it's a curated group
Yeah.
of people
Yeah.
that
I
want to
mean, community
support the
theater.
local theater.
Yeah. I'm not
And
on
like you're
Broadway.
there and
Yeah.
you've been there and it's fancy. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm bigger than you. And so,
No,
you know,
I get it. No, you're on
but
the
there is
on YouTube. You're in the lion's den.
it's right, exactly.
Yeah.
You're just out
Yeah.
there for a bunch of angry old white dudes to complain about how, you know, their
Yeah.
grandpappy didn't do it that way, so this fucking idiot doesn't know what
Well,
he's doing.
I'll stay in community theater. Thank you.
I mean, there's so much value in doing that, though, you know? Anyway. All right. What's it?
Oh,
Hit me
Eric,
with the next
that
one,
was-
buddy boy.
that was
I
a good one.
I wanted to open with that one because I knew that would be the one we take the longest on, and then by the
That's
end of the
good.
episode, we're going to be like yes or no questions, just like
That's good. That's really good.
okay.
No, I like
Hit
that.
me, buddy.
Okay. And I'll ask you this question, and I'll give you my answer first, so you can kind of cogitate on it a little bit. What's something that you've seen recently that's inspired you to change either how you see the world or how you approach and live your life?
Read that for me one more time before you give the answer.
What's something that you've seen recently that has inspired you to change how you see the world or how you live your life? Okay, I've got two small anecdotes to share with you about my answer. So, as I was kind of suffering through this winter, feeling very, very down and very lonely, despite having a great life by all measurable means, emotions are not measurable, or I guess don't respond to measures. Anyway, I stumbled across this musical artist named Ray, Raye. She's a female singer from London. She was beat down by the recording industry for a long time and eventually was so desperate to get out from this contract that they promised her, "Hey, we're gonna show your art to the world." They promised her 4 albums or something in her contract over 5 years. She spent 5 years. They didn't. You know how many albums they put out? 0. They didn't think she was good enough or would have the audience. And eventually she put out a plea on social media being like, I can't do this anymore. I work so hard. I want to get my art out there. I'm becoming like, I've suffered through addiction and I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do. And they released her from her contract. And then she blossomed into this incredible artist. She won 6 equivalent of a Grammy of Brit Awards, which are the Britain's version of the Grammys. She won 6 the next year. Oh, is that not
Shows you what those fucking business assholes know?
I think they're pretty sad that they slept on that. They didn't realize what they had, the value. And anyway, she decided that, and I'm getting to what inspired me so much. She decided as part of now that she's an independent artist, not under the thumb of any stupid record label, she put out this concert at the Royal Albert Hall in London. And I'm going to London in a few months. I'm going to stop at the Royal Albert Hall because of this. I saw it. She's like, I've always wanted to, my dream is to perform here. So this is what she did. She put out her first album. She won 6 Brit Awards with it, which is amazing, phenomenal. And then she ponied up all her savings, an entire year's worth of money, all her money from an entire year, all of it, to hire an orchestra and a writer and a choir
Mm.
So it's the Heritage Orchestra, which plays all kinds of music. They're an orchestra, a classical orchestra that is not afraid to try different types of music. And they're not afraid to use like amplification. So the violins have amps attached to them. So like it's highly like forward thinking. And she hired the Flames Collective, which is a choir based in the London area. And she put all her money on the line for this dream. I want to perform my album at the Royal Albert Theatre. And as part of that, this album that she put out that won all these awards, she had to reimagine it in the context of a choir and an orchestra. So she worked with a composer and herself to recompose every song for orchestra. Her family's in the audience, her mom and dad, her sisters, her grandmother. It's her dream come true. And I just stumbled on this somehow. I don't even know how I stumbled on this. But what I saw was truly, truly magical. I saw someone who wanted art, who loves art so dearly and had paid such a price under the thumb of corporate that when she got out, she just blossomed, right, artistically and put everything on the line, all her own money. And this concert is beyond. It is so beyond in so many ways. And it doesn't, I'm not talking about the type of music it is. I don't even know what kind of music it is. Some of it's rap, some of it's classical, some of it's jazz, some of it's, it almost defies genre. But what I saw was beyond inspiring. I saw an orchestra who is forward thinking and the best players at the top of their game. I saw a conductor who arranged and composed all the music, and absolutely I contacted him on Instagram not that long ago. He said it was the work of a lifetime. He said it was, his name's Tom. Tom said it was a dream come true. It was the work of a lifetime. And Ray is now touring Europe in stadiums. Like, she's internationally famous now. Like, she has blown up. And the Flames Collective, the choir, which I think has some basis in like underprivileged, like trying to provide opportunities for amazing singers who maybe were down on the luck or underprivileged. And like the whole thing came together in the most amazing concert. And what was truly humbling about this is I saw a group of musicians so at the top of their game. They were so good, all of them. I couldn't imagine better. Like it couldn't have been better. And Ray sang her ass off. She put it all on the line. And I mean, total authenticity, total, complete vulnerability, the utmost talent and professionalism, but without any of it affecting her being like human to human, low level. Hey, I see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. And like you could hear it in her voice. She gets choked up all throughout the show. It's just the whole thing was so meaningful, and it had provided me such a huge tsunami of inspiration at a time that I was in my shop feeling so sad and uninspired.
Mm. Mm.
I was just so down from the winter. And to see all of this come together, to see an artist take such a big risk and succeed in such a huge way with the help of others, it was such is moving beyond. I was in tears streaming down my face, Eric, for probably 2 weeks. Every time I'd listen to it, tears. And I'm like, do I need therapy? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, seriously, like something might be emotionally wrong with me because I
think you just have emotions, buddy, and music moves you. I think
but
that's okay.
Eric, they're too, like, it's so big.
See, if
And
anybody listening ever wonders why I love Paul, it's because what was that? Like a 7-8 minute monologue?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
It just came out
I
of me
just
like
sat back and
spigot.
let you cook. I know. And that's the thing, is like that joy is genuine and deep, and while like it is your experience, but it also has nothing to do with you. You're just taking deep joy and profound insight in just the pure existence of a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing in and of itself. You know,
Well, thank
like
you.
you're getting
But
choked up right now.
I am a little bit. I am a little bit. But Eric, the question then became two things. Like, why am I so deeply moved by this story and this moment in time? Why is it affecting me so severely? And number two, how do I channel more of this feeling that I must be craving for? I must be just absolutely parched for. Like, how do I have more of this in my own life? And
Well,
that is
that's an
so.
entirely different question from the
Well,
question you asked, buddy.
all right. So there's so the original question. Sorry, everyone. It's been 10 minutes since the original
No,
question.
let
What's
the boy
something you've
cook.
seen lately that has changed how you see the world or see your life or operate? And this has changed. I want to. I want more of whatever this thing you call it is that I've described over the last 10 minutes. I want more of that in my life. And how do you do it?
Okay. God damn. I'm going to answer that second question first because I think the reason it's so impactful and so beautiful and so moving is because it's rare. I don't think that it can be that powerful in abundance. You know,
That's a
like
great point.
when you stumble upon the thing, and like music does it to me as well, you know, and there are certain performances that you just like, you watch a person, either it all comes together just
Yeah.
right,
Yes.
or
That's it.
it's so deeply honest, or it's
Yes.
both. Like, it's, you know, like there's
And
something about it that just like that just hits you square in the soul.
right. And you realize that in that moment, you might be seeing the artist at the perhaps at the
Yeah.
pinnacle of their entire career.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a profoundly moving thing because the pinnacle only happens once. Like, you might
Yeah.
have different peaks, you know?
You have a great point. You have a
But
great
like
point.
the rarity of that thing, like a beautiful flower is a beautiful flower because it only lasts for a few days, you know? So yes, I do think that we should seek that and be profoundly grateful when we get to experience it. But it's only that moving because it's fleeting, you know?
God damn it. I know you're right.
Hate
So
to break
fuck
it to you,
off.
buddy boy. All right, now to the first question. I will
What have you
give
seen
I will
lately?
give two answers. The first one is not as profound, but it is in relation to music as well. I have always been somebody who latches on to albums and to some extent, like concept albums, if you will. Like, a collection of songs can be great, but like if an album has an overarching theme,
That's what this concert has.
Yes,
It's a story arc over an hour.
That's
it's like
that's
you're
a
so
moving thing,
moved.
right? You get invested in whatever
Yeah.
this thing is that's trying to develop. So anyway, Gorillaz released a new album last Friday called The Mountain, and you can really sense. I can't remember who the lead songwriter and vocalist is, but you can sense him contending with, sometimes very blatantly, sometimes subtly, presumably the loss of somebody very close to him, and kind of going through this arc of like trying to seek like the wisdom of the sage on the mountain, right? Like, that's the concept of the album, and it's just really fascinating. And as I've been working ceaselessly over the last couple of weeks, that album's just been on repeat, and it just, like, every time I listen to it, there's like a new thing and a new song where I'm like, fuck, that's just like, it's a deeply profound thing to chew on the cud of, you know?
So it provides you food for thought while you're working.
Yeah, and not necessarily about my work, just about life. You know,
Yeah,
there are bigger
yeah.
things in life than work. But so that's the short answer to the question. I think the longer answer and the truer answer, and the first thing that popped in my head when you asked that question is just Teddy. You know?
Oh, really?
And here's, I don't mean to be like overly simplistic and sappy about it, but I think as you started to tell your story, what I heard was this person who was forced to be quiet, right? She was shut down. She was not allowed to be public to express. And that kind of bubbled up. And by the time she got out from under the thumb, she was ready to explode loudly, right? There was this big crescendo into this moment of like, here's what I am capable of giving the world. And that's a fantastic thing, but it stands in stark contrast to the forced quietude. And I think what Teddy has done is the exact reverse, right? Like, so my life has been chaos for the last 5 years, right? The show, running the business full time again, social media, all of the things. And what Teddy has done is force me to slow down and force me to contend with just like the quieter things and appreciate like just like going to the park with him today. Like it was 70 something degrees today, and I take him to this big park across the river. It's like several acres, wooded, all fenced in, and we're just running. Like he's just fucking, and we're working on like off leash recall and everything else. So there's intellectual engagement and there's training, but just having the fucking time of his life chasing squirrels. Like that's it, you know? And then then he gets winded and some other dog comes up and he's getting really good. Like his socialization's going really well. And this other dog comes up and kind of gets in his face and he just kind of like walks away and like lies down next to me, just like contented, but also just fucking exhausted. And I'm like, dude, like that's living. That's all it is, man. Just fucking chasing squirrels and hanging out with your bud. And like, he's back here just fucking conked out on his bed, you know?
Oh, I didn't even see him there.
Yeah.
I see.
He's just, he's just providing the counterweight to the last few years of my life, I suppose.
Wow. So when you said that's living, chasing squirrels, immediately what I thought of is you're living in the present and you're appreciating the small things, which is not a small thing to do. Often we are addicted to more, bigger, faster, more, right? I think those are human instincts that have served us well in times of famine. More is always better when you're starving. But in times of plenty, more steals from you the quality of your life. And we try to shut that down and we try to think in terms of gratitude and appreciation for what we have, wanting what you have rather than wanting for more. But it's a daily practice because I think we're fighting our biology to some extent. And what I heard you say is Teddy enjoying the simple things of life is really a daily reminder of the beauty that resides in the simple things.
And it can be anywhere and anything. Like I was sitting in the back patio just a couple hours ago, kind of thinking about things for the show. And he's out there. It's like, this is the first time it's been warm enough since I've had him to chill outside, and he's just fucking loving it. But you know, my patio is the size of this fucking room. It's not big. And I'm sitting there with my notebook and I'm just jotting a couple of things down, and he just comes up and he just like jumps up, puts his paws on top of me, and then jumps all the way up on top of me. And he's 70 pounds. He's not like a lap dog, but he's a lap dog. And he just like puts his head on my shoulder. And he's just like, I'm here now, you know. Just,
he loves you so much.
And I was like, you know what? You're fucking here now, bud. You know.
Oh, that's a great moment.
You know. And you gotta take those. You gotta take those.
I love that, Eric.
That's all.
That's good.
Oh, all right. We're 40 minutes in. We've done 2 questions.
Hey, whatever.
What
You're up.
It is, man. All right. Okay. So I've got 2. They're both science-based because I wanted to ask you science questions.
Oh boy.
One, I think, is just an interesting thing that I've always wondered about that I'm hoping maybe you can explain scientifically to me. The other is a little like podcast bro-y self-important, but I think it could be an interesting question. You pick.
Let's do the science one.
Okay. All right. So this is a phenomenon. I've thought about this for years. It's a phenomenon that I like to call the wooden spoon paradox.
Okay. Okay.
So we all, as woodworkers, we've all carved wooden spoons, wooden spatulas. We use them in the
Mhm.
kitchen, and it's always it's always confused me why, like, if you're making whatever you're making in the kitchen, let's say you're making fucking chili, and doesn't matter, and you're pounding up the ground beef with a wooden spoon, and then you add the seasoning, and then you do yada yada yada, and then as after cooking all of the raw meat, you go and you scoop the cooked meat with the same spoon, but you don't get sick. What? Why?
So you're suggesting, if I understand correctly, that the bacteria on the uncooked meat is cross-contaminating the cooked meat
Yeah, that's
because you
the
use the same
assumption,
spoon.
right? So, like this evening for dinner, I made some chicken and rice and broccoli, and I used the wooden spatula to cook up the chicken, and then I scooped the chicken out of the wok into the bowl with the same
Using the
spatula.
same spatula
And it's
that you touched
never,
the raw
in my
chicken.
entire adult life, it's never been an issue. Why is that?
I think the answer is twofold. Number one, you probably don't have huge amounts of bacteria
Sure.
on your food to begin with, because you probably throw them out when they get questionable.
Sure.
So to begin with, your raw meat is probably not severely contaminated. Therefore, whether you touch it or don't touch it with the spatula, right?
It's really hard not to make a dick joke there.
Sorry, I didn't even hear that until you said that, and then I'm like, oh my god, what did I just say?
No, carry on, right? So my raw meat's not contaminated. That's good news. I'm stone cold
Eric,
sober too.
I know, that's the sad part. Okay, so my guess is the starting material doesn't have a ton of bacteria on it in the first place. Second of all, if it did, let's say the raw chicken had bacteria on the surface, like say some form of E. coli that would make you ill, and you touch the spatula to it, and you touch it the whole time you're cooking, and let's say some of the bacteria got on the spatula, and then you touch that to the cooked chicken, my guess is the transfer of that amount isn't a sufficient dose to make you sick. Because everything about sickness and toxicity and carcinogen, it's all about dose. It's not binary. It's not like, did I get an E. coli or did I not? It's like, how many colony forming units of nasty E. coli did you get? Did you get 1 million? Did you get 10 million? Did you get 1,000? Did you get 100? Did you get 10? That has everything to do with it. So my guess is your cooking behaviors with your raw meat, Eric, your cooking behaviors, not your bedtime behaviors, are sufficiently, let's say, safe enough that you've never experienced food poisoning.
In fairness, I would argue that my bedtime behaviors are also sufficiently safe. So that's for another podcast, buddy. That's for another show. Thanks for answering my question. You're up, cowboy.
There's so many things I want to say right now.
That's for the Patreon exclusive.
That I can't say. Okay. All right. On that note. Yeah. All right. Is that your question?
That was, you answered it beautifully. I assumed it was a numbers game, but I'm not a smart boy. So
okay. All right. Here's my next question for you, Eric. Name something you're excited about. Now, when we typically ask this, we say, hey, what are you excited about in the future? Right? Which gets us like thinking about the future. Oh, everyone ideates about what could be, what's coming in the future. Future. Right? But I'm sort of not into that lately. I'm more into the present. I'm more into like being present, appreciating what's in the present, what's in front of us now. So I'm going to ask this question in a sort of different way. I'm going to say, what's something you're excited about that you've already started? Because that forces it to be partly in the present, not entirely future focused.
What is something you're excited about that you've already started? God, I got so many fires in the iron. I feel like I could cheat that
Fires in the
question.
iron? You just
That's
said fires in the iron. You just said that.
That's what I said. I stand by it. I feel like I could cheat that question, but I don't want to. Okay. I I feel like this is partially due to the nature of the cold winter that we just had and are just coming out of. But a thing that has been happening in my house over the last couple of months and will continue is like things are just getting cozier in an
Oh,
interesting way. Yeah. So
okay.
like
Do tell.
I got some area rugs for downstairs, which,
Mhm.
I got in, like, they're lovely. They feel nice underfoot, but like it was a real moment of like, does it? I feel like it looks like I was actually, so I texted Mary, and
Does this look like Paul's house?
I was like, it feels like a woman lives here. And then she zooms in on the photo to my bar where it's just like exposed whiskey bottles. She was like, no, it doesn't. So I was like, okay, touche. But yeah, like there's things happening in the house that are, I don't know, softer is the word that's coming to mind, though I don't know
Okay.
that that's necessarily the right one. But it's
Are you getting soft?
I'm getting soft in my old age for sure. For
I love
sure.
that. I love
I
it.
can feel it in my bones, you know?
Yeah,
But yeah,
join the fucking club.
I
I'm
know
the
it,
guy
man.
crying in his workshop because he heard a concert. My wife comes in. She's like, "Are you listening to Ray again?"
She's
I'm
like, why are
like, "Do you
you
see the
weeping?
tears?"
That tracks. That feels right.
Oh wow, Eric.
Okay, yeah, that'll be my answer. I was also trying to think of things outside of work. So I'm going to stick with that. I feel like the
So
house
the
is
cozification.
the cozification of the house has been, a really, and also like, we had some friends over recently because Mary's birthday was recently. So everybody came to town for her birthday dinner. And then we all ended up back at my house drinking whiskey because my house is the place where everybody invites everybody to. Um, and Pete, Kaspars was over, and even he was like, your house is just really like warm and cozy. And I was like, man, you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that.
Well, that's a huge compliment. I very much feel like that's important in my life. You know that you know that the cozification
The
is
cosification's pretty, that's a good word.
well. Can we just zoom out? Like, you're on a podcast, you're talking to like thousands of people, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm excited that I got an area
That I
rug,"
got
and
fucking
everyone,
rugs. Yeah.
right? And people are probably like scratching their head, like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? But if I could extrapolate, which I like to do, like zoom out, abstract out, it's what you're talking about is I feel excited about making the place I live feel more like a home than a simple transactional residence.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, listen, my house is partially a gallery of my work. Sure. I think it's tiny enough where it's kind of bursting at the seams at this point. But so I have a lot of interesting objects and warm objects, and I like the way my house looks, but that, like, wood is not the only fucking material on the planet.
Dude, this is not about material. This is about you feeling excited about building a place you feel even better about residing.
Yeah, and those, by the way, now I'm just defending what I said. The choices of those things are creative choices, right? That's interior design. That's a skill. That's color theory. It's all of those things.
Blah, blah, blah.
I just wanted fucking rugs, all right, Paul?
No, Eric, I applaud it. And honestly, that brings up a thought that I've had about my house and my wife. So my wife she has this gift of always seeing potential in the house, even though she's lived in this house for, I don't know, 15 years or something. She can still see it with new eyes, like what's capable. I don't know if those of you with the video feed, you notice that the wall's not the same color behind me. She has this ability to see potential in the house, whereas I just become used to it the way it is, and I don't see the potential anymore. Like when you
Mm.
first go into a space, Eric, did you think I can knock this wall out? We could change that. We can
Oh, of
do this. I
course.
can do
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Right. But once you live there long enough, those things stop occurring to me. And I just see it as that's my house. That's the way it is. But for some reason, Vicky has this like vision. Like she can always see what's possible. And I give her a lot of credit for that. So recently, she's been asking for wallpaper, a change of paint in a couple of rooms, like at this, that, and the other. And I keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. Why am I putting it off? Because I don't feel ready, or I have other projects that I'm thinking about, or I just feel overwhelmed by things. And I sort of had a moment where I got real with myself and I said, why am I continuing to put this off? Because I'm being a fucking bitch. That's why. Paul, you're being a bitch. You're
Yeah, stop
being
being a little bitch, man.
yeah, you're being a bitch. You're like, oh,
Stop
I don't
crying in the shop, being a
yeah.
little bitch. Just get out there and do the fucking work, okay?
I know, right?
Christ.
I know. Total bitch mode. And it's like, oh, I don't feel ready, to take on a new project. That's all just anxiety noise in my own head. And so I recognize that. I've been doing a ton of reading, like, philosophical, existential reading. And I realized that I'm just putting this off for no good reason. And I was like, enough's enough. We're going to paint the office this weekend. And guess what we did? We painted the office.
It's amazing how when you just do the fucking thing, it gets done.
Yeah. Stop thinking about it. So it's like the cosification, Eric. It's back to that idea of making the home even more reflect you and your values and how you see yourself in the world, but not letting anxiety get in the way of it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm talking to. And so
Yeah.
I've been on a campaign that when I see myself being a bitch, you cut that the fuck out and you just do the damn thing and stop being a little bitch.
That's our t-shirt for this episode.
Stop being a little bitch.
Stop being a little bitch.
Yeah, that's today's t-shirt. All right, I got the next one for you. Are you ready?
All right, hit me.
This one's from a patron, from Scott. Scott said, I'd love to hear how you both narrowed down the many avenues of woodworking that you're known for. Did you love boxes, so you started making them? Or did you explore furniture or turning first? So how and why, I guess, why, Tim, why is the more interesting question. Why do you make the things you make? What itch does that scratch for you? And how did you get there?
That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Do you want a minute to think and I'll answer?
No.
Okay.
I think really it's just been a series of questions of like, can I do that? Like, is it, that's all it is it in the beginning, it was like, can I cut a dovetail? Okay, now I can cut a dovetail. How do I make a piece around the fact that I can cut dovetails? So I made the blanket chest, right? Then it was, can I make something in the federal style where like most of it is done with hand tools. So the demi-lune table came out. And then like once I left the, schooling system, then it became questions of like, I don't know, can I build a desk? Can I, like, whatever the thing was that was always just like just beyond my reach. And then once I started to collect enough skills and have some basic understanding of like the engineering principles of certain pieces of furniture, then it became a question of like, can I get a certain reaction from the viewer slash person interacting with the object? I've told this story on the podcast before of like the spiral table and how the goal was to get somebody to engage with a piece 360 degrees. Right. So that all stemmed from a simple question of like, can I invite somebody to walk a circle around an object? And then they did that.
Sorry, question. When you ask, can I do this? Are you measuring yourself? Like, am I good enough? Like, are you sort of proving to yourself that you're good enough by asking that and answering it repeatedly?
I've never looked at it that way. It's really, I've always So I've long said that I think my mind is more scientific than it is artistic. And I think it stems out of like a scientific curiosity of,
Mm.
is it possible? And I'm working from the
Okay.
assumption that it is possible because other people have done it.
Okay,
But
so
is
it's
it
not
possible
it's
for
not like
me?
am I good enough? It's like
Right,
is
right,
this
right.
it's like a curiosity driven thing.
Yeah, it's like what happens
Mm.
if X? You know, I want to see what happens. And then if that
Oh,
doesn't work,
Eric.
well then how do I get to Y?
I have a little science boner from
Yeah.
that.
I know all I
If
got to do is
X,
give you
then Y.
algorithmic
Oh my
variables, and
God,
then
I'm getting hot
I
under
know
the
it. I can
collar.
see it. But yeah, that's how I ended up doing so many of those things. So like I did boxes for a while because they're great vehicles for exploration. Like if I
Okay.
wanted to explore a texture or a material, you can slap a box together in an afternoon and see what it looks like with a soapstone lid, or see what it looks like with a carved lid, or see what it looks
Mm.
like if the whole box is carved.
Yeah.
And then eventually, that once I kind of had a baseline understanding of some of those techniques and the effects that they created, then it was, well, what happens if I apply this to a
Got it.
cabinet?
Got
What
it.
happens if I apply this to a table? So it's just a
So
series of
curiosity
questions.
driven.
Yeah, for sure. And
Great answer.
I think that's still where I make my best work, is just like, is it possible to do X? I don't know. Let's fucking find out.
Dude,
You know?
that is a great answer. And I feel you. Yeah.
Okay.
And
What
this
about
is
you?
where we're aligned.
Yeah.
You and I are aligned. Yeah. Like I make boxes not because I think boxes are the most compelling form ever, but like when you don't know what you like or who you are as an artist or what design elements you really gravitate towards, how do you figure that out?
Mm,
You figure it out through repetition.
yep.
That's how you figure it out. Thus, if repetition is the means by which you'll identify what you like and grow as an artist, what items will give you the most number of repetitions quickly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Boxes are
Yeah.
a great answer to
Guys,
that question.
boxes are just sketches. That's all they are. And
They're
sketches can be beautiful. Sketches can be in museums, right?
Yes.
But they are
They're
just sketches.
They're so useful. They're so functional. They have a million functions. People love them.
Yep.
It's an easy form. It's a versatile canvas for design ideas. That's why I've done so many boxes,
Yep.
because it's the perfect canvas to try out design ideas.
Yeah.
Great
That's a
question.
good answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
great question too.
Scott. Great question and great answers. Go ahead,
All right.
Eric.
I got a good one from one of our patrons, Ben Coffee. And he says, Paul always comes off as an empath, and yet he seems to nearly always be joyful.
Huh.
Is there a life lesson? I know that's in stark contrast to what we were talking about, but like you exude a lot of joy for a lot of things in life. So is there a life lesson or a philosophy that has helped him to maintain that demeanor while the world is as crazy as it is?
Oh, what a question. Oh my God. That is like the best, Ben. Holy shit,
That's
Ben.
a banger.
I'm going to have to think about that question. What? How do you I guess all right, so to me the question, if I could restate it, is how do you feel joyful in a world that feels very overwhelming and very full of maybe things that aren't joyful?
I think that's
that a
the
fair
heart
way
of
to
the
put it?
question, but I also think that is to the story earlier about Ray. He labeled you as an empath, which I think is not unfair, but I would say, how do you maintain like hope
Yeah.
and joy when you are capable of empathizing so deeply with others
Okay.
at all stages?
Great question. I love it so much because I contend with this issue constantly. So I'm not ignorant to what's going on in the world. At the same time, I think it was Voltaire, it stuck in my head. He said, I don't know, centuries ago, that at a time when there wasn't global news, right? There was like town to town news, like by someone who happened to ride into your town on a horse or something. He said, there are times when you have to learn to tend your own garden. And what he meant by that is shrink the scope down because the larger scope is too overwhelming to us as humans. We did not evolve to consume and contend with the amount of information that is available to us right now. Our brains are capable of it, but I'm not sure emotionally we are adequately armed to deal with the amount of strife when you globalize the news, right? It's
Yeah, there's
global.
always something terrible happening.
There's something terrible happening at every minute of every day somewhere. There's also something amazing happening at every minute of every day. But because of our negativity bias and the news trying to steal our attention using fear tactics, we're only fed the negative side of that equation, unfortunately. So for me, what I do is recognizing that we're not really wired for this neurologically. I sometimes I check what's going on and then I shut it the fuck down in my brain. And I try, I feel that empathy. I feel that pain for a small period of time in the morning. Let's say in the morning. And then I say, I wish it weren't that way, but I personally, me alone, cannot control that directly. And I'm going to just focus on the things around me that I can control for the rest of the day. Yeah. And so it's a scope question. It's like I allow myself to feel the full scope for a small period of time to stay on top of what is happening, and then I shut down that scope to preserve my own feelings of worth and joy and happiness. So I think it's scope control. How do you handle it?
That's fair. I do much the same thing, but I think I zoom out before I zoom in. This is a little tricky to articulate because I don't want it to come off in any way as ignorant to the suffering of anybody at any given moment, right? But I am very aware that we are not changed as a species than we were, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. No. Like this is the human condition, and it's awful, right? Like it's agreed. To suffer through those circumstances is truly a terrible thing. But to your point, like once you zoom out and you go like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about this for that person in this moment because A, they're halfway across the world, and B, this is just fucking who we are, and this is who we're going to be tomorrow, and this is who we're going to be 100 years ago.
It's who we've always been.
Yes. And so once I see that, then the only logical conclusion I can come to is, well, then the only thing I can do is to do the thing that's in front of me, which is like, I can't help a person suffering in Iran.
Correct.
Right? What I can do is there's the homeless guy on the corner and there's a grocery store across the street that I walk to. Like I can just bring him a fucking bag of chips on the walk home.
And that's worthwhile.
And he ain't a bad dude. I talk to him. There's a few of them out there. I know them. Like they're fine folk. They're just for whatever reason they're there.
That's it.
And I can't do anything else, but I can bring them a fucking sandwich. You know? That's it.
That's a great point. It basically it's a similar answer. It's like scope, like you zoom out to understand and appreciate what might be happening, and you zoom into where you can move the needle.
And the overwhelming feelings come from the fact like the feeling that that's not enough. It's not doing anything. And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it's not doing anything. Well, you know what it is doing? It's fucking helping that person in that moment. It's like,
well, don't say that's doing nothing. It's it is something, Eric. It may not be huge. Well,
I'm not trying to say it's doing nothing, but it feels like it's not enough. But like this might sound pie in the sky, fucking rosy ignorance, but like if everybody just did something, the world would be a lot fucking better a place than it is right now.
I
If you
agree.
just
Just
did like
small acts of
one
kindness.
small thing
Yes.
tomorrow,
Yes, I
you know?
agree. Yep, I agree.
That's it. And
And
you know what else? Shut the fuck up about it. Like you don't have to tell anybody that you did it. Just fucking do it.
you just
That's all.
told a lot of people that you did it. No, I get your point though.
You
No,
know,
I totally get your point.
just
I
do
do.
the thing.
I also another thought that gives me some comfort these days. Often, I think you can find clips of Neil deGrasse Tyson talking
Mm.
about this. Is like in the history of humankind, which probably started arguably maybe 500,000 years ago. Let's say 500,000 years ago. You know, Homo sapiens kind of budded off the as a species. Um, this today, right now, this minute today, is probably the least violent, least
Mm-hmm.
horrible moment ever in human history because many eons ago, like thousands of years ago, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, people were slaughtered
Constantly.
indiscriminately. People were starving from famine and I mean most people didn't live past 30
Yep.
many centuries and millennia ago. That was a So today the number of people who are dying in horrific ways may actually be much lower than the human race has experienced in its history. We are in a time of in a general sense, food plenty, safety is high, the highest it may have ever been. I'm not saying everywhere, but I'm just saying as a race across the globe, compared to thousands of years ago, things are far better for the human race. But yet we feel like it's never been worse. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a what do you call that? A bit of a paradox in that the
Well,
data suggests that we're better off than we've ever been as a species, yet we feel like it's never been worse. And
so
is that a perception issue or is that an
yeah,
information issue?
I think it's a
What,
perception issue. My own personal theory, and this is just like dog shit crackpot Eric has a theory about life kind of thing. But I think about this thing that I've deemed generational amnesia, which is like our generation experiences a thing. The next generation hears the stories of that trauma.
yeah, but they
The
didn't live
following,
it.
right.
Yeah.
And then the following generation, by the time their grandparents are expressing that trauma, you're like, yeah, but that happened a long time ago. And the fourth generation never hears about it because their grandparents don't want to talk about how their parents were shitty to them because they had all this trauma from
I see. I
whatever
see.
at this point. So we're these things happen in rhythms, right? These broad movements happen in rhythms, and we might just be at a point. And again, I don't mean to be glib or diminish anybody's suffering in this, but like
Yeah.
we might be at a point where we're far enough away from some of the most horrendous things that have happened in modern America or modern human history that
Hmm.
we just have forgotten how actually fucking terrible they are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just like the only way to remember is for it to happen again, unfortunately. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to say that it's like predestined or anything like that. Like it's inevitable, but you know what I'm getting at? Like
I do. I
we
do.
we don't remember how fucking awful some of those
Because we
things
didn't live
are.
it. So it's
Yeah.
only through spoken word or reading,
And
which
so
doesn't really
it doesn't quite
confer
do
the
the thing.
magnitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add a footnote to this? I think staying positive in a time when you don't feel that positive or having appreciation for what you do have rather than longing for what you think you need to be happy. The idea of this is enough as opposed to I need more to be happy. This concept to me goes against our instincts as humans because more has evolutionarily been favored as better. People who collected more lived probably in times of famine. But I do think that this idea of I have enough, gratitude for what you do have, is a daily practice. That's kind of what I've learned this year. It's like you might think it, but unless you practice it daily, it doesn't stick. And it requires constant refreshing because I think our innate instinct is to want more, is to only see from our point of view. But so to that to Ben who wrote that comment, I think it's like a daily practice of trying to get in the heads of other people, think about what they might be experiencing, trying to realize what I have is more than enough and I should feel intense joy at where I am. And some days I do it better than others. Some days I'm shit at it and I'm pretty lame. And other days I feel super joyful and super appreciative and it overwhelms me. And it's a daily struggle and practice.
Interesting. I will add to that because, as usual, we agree on the bigger things in life. I will simply say, from personal experience, I know when I am in that headspace of feeling overwhelmed and I'm looking for a thing to like ground me and feel appreciative of, I can block things out of my vision really easily. Like I can get like hyper fixated in my head. Sound, for whatever reason, pulls me back into the world. I don't know what it is, man. You know? And so like maybe that's music, but like maybe it's also like pausing and like listening to the birds chirping. And then it's just like, oh right, no, I'm actually here now and the sun is shining and it's 70 degrees.
Eric,
You know?
the fact that you use that as an example, I just slow down and I have the silence and the birds chirping. You are in your brain, you're switching to what's called the default mode network. Okay. That's the term for a series of brain structures that turn on when you're bored, essentially. When you're not occupied, like let's say you're watching a video on YouTube, you're occupied, right? So parts of your brain are just comprehending, trying to make sense out of what you're seeing, eating up the content. But when that's off, when you turn that fucking phone off and you listen to the birds chirping, your brain goes back to the default mode network. You can Google it. It's a series of like 5 or 6 brain structures. And it's basically your brain off of stimulation. And that part of your brain is responsible for a host of things like problem solving in the background, creativity, rejuvenating thoughts. You're like mulling over things that have been on that back burner. You know what I'm talking about, right? Those back burner thoughts. But the key is you're giving yourself the silence to get there.
Yeah.
You're allowing yourself the time. I'm going to listen to the birds chirping and you're thinking about your life. You're thinking about meaning and you're thinking about what does your life mean? Who am I? Why am I on this planet? What does any of it mean? Like these bigger philosophical questions that actually are very important. But the only reason you're considering them is because you shut down the noise of everything else for a moment.
Well, and sometimes those questions can feel really overwhelming as well, right?
They can. They're not easy.
Yeah. And so I guess that's the side that I'm coming from of like when there's already silence and I'm deeply lost in those thoughts in contending with those difficult things. It's often the noise, the sound. I don't want to use the word noise, the sounds of the world around me that draw me back out of those thoughts and into the now, you know? It's just like, oh, right. There's just a squirrel carrying a fucking acorn. And like he dropped it in the gutter.
Teddy,
right? Teddy out here trying to fucking hunt a squirrel, you know? Like whatever the thing is that's just like, it's not like those things happen and those things are real and those things are important things to contend with. But it's also important to remember to just like look up and be like, oh yeah, like there's just a kid playing with her fucking mom, drawing with chalk on the sidewalk. Like that's a beautiful thing to just walk by.
You're observing. You're just an observer.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when a bus pulls up in Philly, right, and the people get off the bus, let's say 5 or 6 people get off the bus and they start walking. Do they pick up their phones?
Oh, every one of them. Yeah. 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 It's the world we live in.
That is exactly the opposite of what you described.
Yeah.
They are occupying their mind with some form of stimulation so that they don't use the default mode network, and they're not really looking around and observing and being bored and having a moment to reflect on things. They're constantly occupied. And I think this is a pattern I see that is just rife
Sure.
in our
And
in
and look, I'm guilty of it too. You know,
I
there's
am too.
certainly,
I
you
am
know,
totally guilty of
you
this.
just walk
But
around, you're texting people, you're doing whatever the fuck it is, checking your
But
emails.
now that I know more about the neurological side of like what's going on and kind of what you said, that beauty is in these moments when you're not occupied.
Yeah.
Now that I know that, I intentionally put that dumb device away.
Oh, sure. I mean, listen, I have long been a proponent for, and some people have accused me of male privilege on this one, of leaving my phone at home when I go for a walk. Right?
I
I'll
think
just
that's
leave it in the
great.
house. And like now, listen, you can say, well, now I got a dog, so whatever. You know, he'll protect me. He won't. He'll fucking lick anybody to death. He ain't protecting shit about shit.
I think you're
Um,
I
but
think that's
but
great.
like I think that's really because if it's there, you are more apt to reach for it. And guys, I know like we can say whatever we want about feeling safe, and I don't want anybody to feel unsafe and traverse the world however you need to in order to feel safe in your own body and space. But we also navigated the world for millions of years, or 500,000 years at least, without phones in our pockets. You know, like we were
It's
all
true.
kids in the fucking 90s. We just rode bikes 7 miles down the road and we were just like, bye, Miles, see you in 5 hours. Like, we didn't know where the fuck we were going.
We are uniquely positioned as the only generation that had it before phones and
Yeah.
after phones,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so we know the difference.
Yeah. Just leave it at home. Just go fuck off in the shop for a few hours without your phone and see how much more work you get done.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. A cleanse is good. All right.
All
Do you
right.
have any? You have any more burners?
There's a few more.
Let's do one more, and we'll
let's
keep
do
it
one
brief.
more. Okay. All right. Which one should we go with? Okay. This one's from Jerry. He said, how has your scientific mindset influenced the way you approach joinery, tool selection, and problem solving in the shop? And have you ever
Ooh.
found yourself running an experiment to justify or validate a build?
How has your scientific background affected joinery, tool selection, or
Yeah,
what?
and problem solving in the shop. Let's start with that one. Have you ever scienced your way into like picking the right plane or saw or ergonomics
No.
or
No, you know
no?
why?
Hmm.
Because experience has already told us the answer. We have
Hmm.
we have centuries of woodworking experience telling us what works and what doesn't. Why am I going to reinvent the wheel?
That
What's the benefit?
that is proof that you're not an engineer.
look, we all have just a finite amount of time on this earth.
Yeah.
Are you really going to reinvent the wheel just to
Okay.
reinvent it?
All right. Okay. So the second part of that question then, have you ever found yourself running an experiment to justify or validate a build?
Yes. I I was like, why does dyed veneer cost so damn much? Okay. Fuck this. Like, how hard is it to get a black dye to permeate wood? Like, this can't be that fucking difficult. Where's the mystery here, Scooby Doo? So, yeah, I got all worked up about that. And I was like, I'm going to figure this out. So I was like, this can't be that hard. Famous last words.
Go,
So,
science boy.
just a good science boy. Like to make things out of wood. So I took black dye and I just poured it on wood and I left it for a week. And I looked how far that penetrated. Yeah, not at all. Terrible. Fucking horrible results. And I'm like, okay, why didn't the dye go into the wood? Oh, because there's already like air and liquid or whatever, or like the cells are closed. Like there's some barrier there, whether it's air bubbles or other water or the cells are sealed and it just can't but capillary reaction is not drawing it in. Okay, so fine. So I figured that was the case. Okay, so it needs some pressure. All right. All right. So there's two ways you can think about pressure: vacuum or pushing. You either suck or you push. You suck or you blow, Eric. Back to your raw meat discussion.
You said it, not me. Carry on.
Back to Eric's raw meat. You either suck or you blow. So please don't use that as a clip for Instagram.
You know 100% that's going to be the clip I pull for this one.
Please do not use that as a clip. So I thought, okay, vacuum is easier than pressure, and it's safer because a vacuum doesn't kill you. Pressure does. So I bought a vacuum.
Hold on, that can't be true.
Well, like if a vessel implodes as opposed to explodes,
sure,
right?
But if you get sucked out into space, you're dead.
Yeah, but in terms of a vacuum of a vessel in your shop, which one's going to kill you with shrapnel? It's the explosion, not the implosion. But thank you for thank you, Interstellar.
Let me explain to you how fucking space works, okay, science boy.
Thank you, Mr. Fucking.
You're gonna create a black hole in the middle of your shop, okay?
Okay, Interstellar, Eric. So I tried a vacuum. I hooked a vacuum up to a PVC made vessel, and I put the wood in a solution of black dye, and I pulled the vacuum, thinking it's going to draw the air out of the wood and the dye will go in and it'll be colored throughout its thickness. Guess what? Didn't fucking work.
Just sucked up the ink.
And I'm like, that's great. No, it didn't suck up the ink, but I'm like, okay, that didn't work either. So either I didn't pull a good enough vacuum, or the solvent is wrong. Maybe water is like there's surface tension inside the cell, so the water doesn't want to enter. So I changed the solvent to like acetone or xylene or some other some nasty solvent that has no surface tension, and it worked much better. So surface tension has something to do with this. Okay, so it's not simply the amount of suction; it's definitely suction as it relates to surface tension or the solvent that's carrying the dye. All right, so I figured that out. And I'm like, okay, but what about pressure? Because when we say we use pressure treated wood, right? Why is it pressure treated? And why isn't it like vacuum treated? So obviously pressure must be, and if you think about what pressure does, if you have a wood, like a cell, like a plant cell, and let's say it has air inside it. Well, in theory, vacuum sucks the air out, but pressure reduces the size of the bubble of air as the pressure increases, right? Like as pressure increases, bubbles get smaller. That's why when you're scuba diving or snorkeling, the bubbles are real little at the bottom of the ocean and they get bigger as they go to the top because the pressures, right? So I thought, okay, so that's what must be happening. So as you apply pressure to the wood cells, the air inside is shrinking, and that allows dye to come into the space now because the air bubble has shrunk to like 1/10 of its size. So I made a pressure vessel, and that's scary as shit. So I made I checked the pressure ratings of Schedule 8 PVC. I made a pressure vessel. Do not do this at home.
You made a bomb, is what you made.
I basically made a bomb. Yeah. Do not do this at home, kids. I screwed the ends on this Schedule 8 PVC vessel. I flooded it with black dye. I put the wood in. I pressurized it to 125 psi using my compressor. Now, I was not in the shop when I did this. I put the pressure vessel underneath a series of concrete stone, like concrete blocks. I made like a bunch of concrete blocks, and I put the pressure vessel in the middle of all the concrete blocks, and the little tube that is rated for the 500 psi is only carrying 100 and going to my pressure my compressor, and I turn, and I'm around the corner from it. So not only is it covered in concrete blocks, I'm in a different location entirely. I'm in the shop. This thing's outside around the corner. There's no way it can hit me, even if it explodes. And I turn the pressure on slowly, 20, 30, 50, 80. And I'm listening for the bang.
Yep.
No bang. I was because the PVC Schedule 8 I used, or whatever it was rated for way more pressure than that. I was careful. I got up to 125 psi, and I left it for about an hour, let's say, and then I depressurized it slowly. and I changed my underwear and I went and I looked and it did pretty good.
Did it?
It did real good.
Okay.
But then I got to the point like, Paul, you
It's not
dumbass.
fucking worth it.
Was all this worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
And I just bought the black veneer. But I had a good time testing the shit out of it, and I determined it's not worth my time unless I need it like in vast quantities all the time.
Sure.
This is not worth my time and effort.
Sure. Okay. All right. That's a proper science experiment.
Have you had any?
I don't know that I would qualify them as science experiments. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Have you ever tested the strength of joinery?
I mean, technically yes, but it was very like backwoods bullshit science. Like I cut a mortise and tenon, and I cut. Okay, in fairness, this was something of a scientific experiment. My thesis statement, if you will, would have been that glue surface with contemporary glues is more important than leverage in traditional joinery to hold a joint together. So what that would look like is let's take a 2x4, right? 2-inch by 4-inch rail and style, and saying that a single tenon going into that style is arguably less structurally sound than if I were to take simple dominoes, standard dominoes, and have like 8 of them in there with contemporary adhesives, because theoretically I'm increasing the glue surface area. That was the theory. So I made both of them. I clamped them to one of the verticals in my shop, and I marked every 6 inches, and I climbed up on it and I stood on it. And I just like bounced on it a little bit. I think they were like a foot off the ground. And if it held, I moved slightly further out and I bounced on it in the next 6 inches and the next 6 inches until it broke. And then I did the same thing with the domino pieces. And it turns out I was wrong.
The domino broke.
Mechanical leverage is way stronger than we give it credit for, or at least that I give it credit for in that moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I still think I would like to run the test again.
Wait, Eric,
now that I have a Domino XL.
Sorry, let me just make sure I understand. It's like 8 dominoes versus like a big chunky mortise and tenon?
Just this big single tenon. Yeah. And I would like to run the experiment again to see, now that I have a Domino XL, if that changes things. Because I used epoxy for both, and the dominoes broke first. But they blew out the bottom of the style, because I think there was just so much leverage on those bottom dominoes and not enough.
They were too close to the edge too.
Right,
I bet.
Right. So I think that might have been what happened with the XL. Now you're getting increased glue surface and leverage because they're much longer.
See, I feel in that experiment you weren't really testing glue versus mechanical advantage. You were actually testing mechanical advantage versus mechanical advantage.
Oh, sure. Well, this is because I'm not smart. You know
what I mean? No, you are very smart. Don't fucking do that. Don't do that.
I agree
Don't
with
do that.
You. I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's the dominoes were too close. Like their mechanical advantage being so close to the edge was inferior to like a chunky thing, right?
Well, really where this stemmed from was one of the guys who taught me the trade, Rob Hare, made these big giant theater doors like 30 years ago or something like that. And they're mahogany doors, like 8 feet by 4 feet, a pair of them. And he was a sculptor by trade, not a woodworker or a joiner. So he just biscuited the doors together and used epoxy. And whatever, 15, 20 years later, that theater closed down and they moved location. So they asked him to move the doors. And he said, sure, no problem. And in moving the doors, one of them slipped off the truck and fell onto the highway. And the mahogany door just fucking exploded. And all 4 of the corner joints where the biscuits had been epoxied together stayed together perfectly. So it was like,
because it wasn't the biscuits holding it, right?
Yeah. He was like, well, then it's perfect. It's strong enough,
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's the closest, I think, to a proper science experiment I've done in the shop.
Well, for science experiments, I would just say like if the answer is unclear to you or unclear from the hundreds of years of knowledge we have, absolutely run the experiment. But like, why are we going to reinvent the wheel here? Like people saying like, oh, a hollow grind weakens the blade. Fuck
Who
off. It
gives a
doesn't.
shit?
It does not. Your hollow grind blades are just fine. Just get it done,
Just get
Make a
it,
thing.
dude.
Like
Just
make a
get it,
thing,
dude.
like Eric says.
Yeah, just make a thing. Well, that was a weird episode, buddy. We went all
Yeah.
over the place. We didn't even talk about fucking creativity all that much.
It was all over the place, but we've had a lot to catch up on.
We have. It's been a long 3 months. I miss you, bud.
I missed
like
you.
this 5 o'clock shadow you got coming in. Sexy as hell.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Where can the people find us for the after show?
If you would like the after show or the video feed, all you have to do to get it is subscribe to our Patreon. And our Patreon also has a nice community that going on inside it where people share their projects, ask questions. I asked some of the questions that I had today were from our Patreon chat. So all you have to do is, for the after show and the video feed, is subscribe to our Patreon, and we would appreciate that.
And Paul, before we go, I got one more question for you, buddy. When's the last time you prayed?
In nomine Patri, Filii, Spiritus Sanctus.
How is your standing with our Lord and Savior right now?
William T. Burkle.
Yeah, William Teresa Burkle. Yes.
Teresa. Has he gotten tired of us calling him?
No, he fucking
Teresa?
loves it. I talk to him all the time. He's like, "Your
What
fucking
is his
ad reads
middle
are the
name?
dumbest shit ever."
Do we know?
I don't remember. He told me at one point. I don't remember what it is.
You couldn't even bother to remember,
did.
you bitch.
He did one time tell me, this is 100% true. He was like, I find it hilarious that you guys call me Lord and Savior because my parents almost named me Jesus.
What? Are you
He was
kidding?
like, my middle name was almost Jesus.
Are you kidding?
I swear to Christ.
I swear to Jesus.
I swear to William T. Burkle.
Oh my God, Eric, that's hilarious.
For the people who are wondering, if you're new here and you haven't heard of WTB Woodworking, it is something of a mecca for woodworking, which I understand is mixing religions, but just ride with me. Located down at 390 Pike Road in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania, it's effectively a mom and pop shop that has everything you need for all of your woodworking supplies. And if you're in the area and can stop by, Bill is offering 50% off all slabs in store, 10% off all boards in store, and 10% off all woodwork turning blanks in store as well. Because, he's a giver. He's a giver. He said, I'm going to take these 3 loaves and 5 fish and make it 50% off all slabs in store. That's how I ride, baby. So, go check him out. Check him out. Billy T's a good boy. He's a good boy. And he's now also carrying Total Boat and Raycon products. So you can get all those. Guys, also, I will say this in like 100% genuineness. Bill's a great dude. He and his wife run the store. It's I don't know if he will like me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. But like, if you, it's kind of like a woodcraft, but like mom and pop style, like in that they have a bunch of woodworking stuff and you can buy it online, support local business, go do the thing.
I know this is true because the only way I would say yes to an ad read is if there was like some reasonable degree of authenticity to it, which I'm all about mom and pop places helping the community. So.
And honestly, like if you just want to get into heaven after you die, then just go fucking buy shit from WCB Woodworking.
Okay. Well, guarantees on getting into heaven witstanding or notwithstanding, I should say. Thank you, Eric. That was illuminating.
Thank you, buddy boy. I got you. I'm here for you.
I feel like I see a halo above your head right now. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 5 now of Barstool Confessions. It's about as real as it gets with the two of us. Again, I forgot we were recording halfway through the recording. I think Eric did too. um, I hope you enjoyed that.
I mean, I always enjoy talking about my dirty meat. So I guess we'll see you guys in the after show.
All right, y'all. See you in the after show.
Okay, bye.
Bye.